What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Dylan Knostman here with Mom's Basement MMA, and I am joined by a very special guest today, Christian McAuley, ahead of his bantamweight fight, or catchweight fight, excuse me, at Cage Fury FC 132 on June 14th. How are you doing today, man? How are we feeling?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. How about you?
I am doing great, man. Happy to have you here. So obviously, just off the top, this has been a lifelong endeavor for you. Obviously, off the air, you're just talking about your daughter getting into grappling very young, but
Yep.
5 years old, you started your martial arts career. Was this always kind of the route that you knew you were going to take, becoming a pro fighter, or did this kind of just end up this way?
It kind of went into my head probably when I was maybe like 14, 15 years old. Kind of, you're in high school, you're not really sure what you want to do with your life. And then I kind of knew from that age that I didn't want to do like a regular, 9 to 5 desk job. And I was like, what's a better job than kicking ass for a living, getting paid? You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
it's one hell of a career. So
Yes, it is. So obviously, you've spoken before in interviews. You started around 5 years old with karate. You fought a variety of rule sets. You fought MMA, obviously, K1 kickboxing, grappling. How do you think, as a growing martial artist, fighting different rule sets and getting that experience in a variety of different types of fights helps you, especially in your MMA career?
I think it's so important. It's at my gym at Tiger Showman's, we have it set that way for a reason, right? You want to get really good at all areas and all disciplines, and then you eventually mix it together. So no matter wherever the fight goes, you're prepared. Whether it's stand up, you can outstrike the person. If you need to take the person down, you can take the person down. If it ends up on the ground, you can submit them. So I think it's important to be well rounded, and you get a lot of people. I feel like they just rush right into MMA and they don't get good at the fundamentals and the basics of all the other disciplines. Um, so at our gym, that's what we focus on. Everyone gets good at kickboxing. They do jiu-jitsu tournaments. Get your wrestling really good, and then you blend it all together. So that way you're really well rounded.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, train out of Tiger Schulmann's. You've been there your entire career, which obviously just goes to show what a home that place can provide. What from your perspective, what do you think makes that gym so special? Obviously, you guys got up at the New York location, guys like the Burgos brothers, really high level fighters there. But what makes Tiger Schulmann's really special, especially in a packed area like the Northeast with good gyms?
I think it starts from the top. Shion, Ron Schulmann, Daniel Schulmann, like the foundation and the philosophy that they've put in into the curriculum and into the schools. Just the way they've structured it, it's just built such great fighters from the ground up. You know what I mean? A lot of our fighters, they've started like me, since they were 5 years old, 10 years old. They've grown through the organization, and it just shows um, how good the structure that they put together. All the fighters that have been homegrown through it. So, and
Yeah,
like
well,
I
I feel
said,
like you talk about the
yeah, and like I said before, like the way they structure, where they make sure you're good at in every discipline. In kickboxing, in boxing, in jiu-jitsu, in wrestling, and making sure all your disciplines are covered and not just rushing people into MMA fights. I think that's what makes this one of the best gyms in the world.
Absolutely. Well, I think just to speak on the structure aspect, so many gyms I feel like don't have that. Like, okay, you got to progress through this system as opposed to kind of just like you said, rushing into fights. Kind of just like,
Yeah.
all right, you're ready now. And I think that just goes to show the development of MMA as a sport, especially over the last 20 years, and how we're really starting to turn it into something a little more mainstream and very structured, which is good to see.
Yep.
So more about you. I want to talk a little bit about your style. Obviously, like I said, you have a variety of experience and disciplines. Jumps off the page of me is your 3 victories by Anaconda choke in your pro and amateur career. Just talk to me a little bit about your style, and for that particular submission, is that something you hunt out? Is it something that seems to fall into your lap? What's the backstory behind those?
That's my shit. Everyone in the gym knows that's my shit. I've gotten almost pretty much everybody in the gym with it at least once.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting harder and harder to get it just because everyone knows it's coming.
Yeah.
And I've shown people like defense to it and stuff like that. But that's my shit. I've found out different ways to lock it up. Traditional ways, unorthodox ways, to lock it up. That's just been my shit since. Goddamn, I can't remember how many years now. Every grappling tournament I did, I would lock it up. In training, I lock it up. that's just people try to shoot on me. And then, you know, I feel like in my last fight, I was going for it like in the second round, and I feel like he kind of knew that that's my move, and he was doing a good job defending it. But I still got it with him in the third round. You know, people know it's coming, and they just still can't stop it. I know this guy that I'm fighting. I know he's probably aware of that. If he tries to take me down and he can stop it, you know, good on him. But probably won't be able to if he tries to take me down. So
yeah. Well, the Anaconda holds a special place in my heart because that was the first submission I ever landed in a competition as well. So it's the best, man. I love the front chokes, Darces, Anacondas. It's all great.
Oh yeah, when I'm teaching class and I see my students go for it, I'm like, oh! I get so excited. Yep.
Let's go.
So yeah, that's
all right.
my shit.
So you mentioned your opponent, Keron Reed, coming up. Obviously 2-1, coming out of Texas. Good young fighter as well. Really decorated amateur career. How much do you know about him, and how much does tape study play into your preparation for a camp, or is it kind of more just focusing on you and what your game plan is going into a fight?
I know a lot of people, they don't like to watch too much stuff. I'm the opposite. I like to watch everything. I like to watch every amateur fight they've done, every pro fight they've done. I'll even watch interviews that they do, and like, you know, to the last detail. You know, the way they walk out. How are they in between, you know, rounds? Are they paying attention to their corner? Are they looking around? Are they breathing heavy after the first round? How do they walk out? You know, what are they doing when their name's getting announced? So that way, when I'm in there, it's completely normal. I've seen it 1,000 times, and it's nothing new. It's comfortable. So I watch tape. I try. The closer I get to the fight, I watch a little bit more. Like, I'll watch maybe once or twice when I first get the fight, and then after that, I really won't watch that much. But then maybe fight week, I'll start to watch a little bit more, just so I'm getting more comfortable visualizing how the fight's going to be and everything like that.
Absolutely.
As it gets closer.
Yeah, I really like that. I think visualization is such an important process, and fighting such a mental thing. You know, being able to prepare yourself for that moment, understanding what it's going to feel like, look like, is probably a huge bonus, especially when you're you know, fighting somebody skilled. So obviously you're a father of 2. Seems like you got a third on the way. Congratulations, first of all, and second of all, how has fatherhood affected your career in a positive or negative way, and how have you had to kind of navigate having more kids, and do you think it kind of helps you with inspiration and all that stuff?
I feel like fatherhood, like I said before, like around 14, 15, I knew this is something that I wanted to do. But I feel like fatherhood just made it so much more clear. You know, I had my first daughter at a really young age. You know, I was 18. My wife was 17 at the time, unexpected. I was going to college at the time, and you know, I was kind of going to college, but I really knew I wanted to fight, so I was kind of splitting my time back and forth, and then working part-time. And then, you know, once she was born, I ended up spending, like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, $5,000 to pay for a semester of college. And I thought to my head, I'm like, why am I wasting $4,000 on doing something that I don't really want to do, when I can save that $4,000, you know, use it to something that actually matters, put all my eggs in one basket, and then, you know what I mean? And then go down this path, you know, instead of splitting my time, doing part-time, going to school, part-time fighting, part-time teaching. Not to mention, you have to be there as a dad, you have to be there as, you know, as a husband and stuff like that. So I knew something was going to lack, and I didn't want it to be fighting. I didn't want it to be, you know, as a father. So I decided to let the one thing go that I cared least about, and that was school. So I feel like if I didn't have my daughter at such a young age, I might have still kept going to school for a little bit, and it wouldn't allowed me to put all my eggs and all my energy at such a young age. You know what I mean? At 18, I decided this is what I was going to do, and since then I've been putting all my energy, all my time into this. So who knows if I'd be where I am right now if I didn't have my daughter at such a young age. And then you know, once you have one, you know, people say, you know, having 2 is much worse than having 1, which is true, but I feel like once you have the first one, the second one's a little bit easier because you kind of know what to do, you know what to expect. And stuff like that. Shout out to my wife. She's the one that deals, you know, she's the one that deals with them and all the headache that comes with it. So she makes it easy for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, all right. So a little bit of a switch up. Tell me 3 fighters, whether they have been, you know, fighters in the UFC you've watched, teammates, opponents, even, who have really, you know, impacted or shaped your career the most up to this point.
3
That's
fighters.
not a big question, but
No, that's a good question. I gotta think about it. I feel like the first one comes to mind is one of my coaches, Louis Gaudino. He's actually we work together as well. He he fought in the UFC. He fought the 125 division, and he was actually kind of one of the people that I talked to before I decided that I was going to do this for a career, because he had a child at a young age as well, and he was able to go pro and then go and get into the UFC. So I knew if he could do it, I could do the same thing. So that's kind of helped me make the decision to go through with this. Someone else probably be in the UFC. I would say someone like Volkanovski. The way how well rounded he is. Striking, standing up. I became a really big fan after the third Max Holloway fight. The way he just dominated it, and then just closed the book on that chapter of his career. That's what made me a really big fan of him, and then just his badass mentality.
Dude, him. Sorry to interrupt, but him
right.
versus Ortega when he got out of those submission attempts in the third round, that was one of the moments that made me want to fight for real.
When he gets out,
when he gets out
of the submission and just starts beating the hell out of him, that's just insane. That's like a top 5 moment for me.
Oh, absolutely.
And then last one would probably be another one of my teammates, Shane Burgos. He's a lot like me, very family oriented. He's got 3 kids right now, and then his mentality, it's all gas, no brakes, kill or be killed. That's kind of how my mentality is when I get into the cage as well. It's bell to bell. I'm trying to finish you. Every single time I'm going out there, there's no touching, feeling out. It's going there. I run across the ring. I punch you right in the face as hard as I can. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, your knockout win. I mean, that's how it was. You kind of just a couple jabs, right hand, done, sleep. I was watching that fight and I was like, oh my god, that caught me by surprise. And I knew there was going to be a finish.
I tell everybody, everyone, they go out there the first couple minutes. It's kind of the feeling process because your nerves are up, you're anxious and stuff like that. The way I get rid of that is I just run across as fast as I can and just throw the hardest punch I can. Just get out of the way. Once you start, then you're good. So
it's easy.
That's always the game plan.
All right. So last but not least, do you have any coaches, sponsors, teammates you'd like to thank? Obviously, you got a fight coming up. Obviously, nearing the end of training camp. Anybody that's really helped you, get ready for this fight in particular.
Yeah, I want to thank a couple of my sponsors, Tiger Showman Pro Shop. They supply with all my gear and stuff like that. Fighters First. If you guys want to purchase some merch, you guys can purchase some merch from there. And then just thank you to all my students, teammates, for all the help, all the support, my family as well. And then, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time today. Make sure everybody watching tune into Christian McAuley's fight, June 14th, Cage Fury FC 132 against Keron Reed. It's going to be a banger fight, 2 high-level young prospects. And, I can't wait to see what you do next in your career, man.
Of course, brother. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good one. Thank you.
You too.